Normally, on this channel, the Michelin star chef looks like this. And my experience looks like this. Today is a bit different. Here are the chefs. And this is me.
The emotions I have is mostly fear.
I have never done anything like it, and probably never will again. Our day begins here, going down 30 meters to the Crier, the cavernous chalk pits, created by the Romans who mined here for building materials starting in the 3rd century. It's just one of the things we learn from Melissa, our guide, on our tour of the Charles Heidsieck Champagne House historic chalk cellars, where they have been aging and storing champagne since 1867, part of history and artistry of producing beautiful champagne. The main feature of the tour is here, filled with all sorts of vintage editions and glasses ready for action. Here we will do the first of a 2-part champagne tasting. For the second part we need to go up, way up, 50 meters into the air and try the champagne again. Will it taste any different? I guess we are about to find out. But there is just one problem. I'm really not a fan of heights. The champagne we are tasting is the classic Charles Heidsieck Brut Reserve. This selection is no stranger to me. We serve it by the glass at my restaurant 42. It's one of the best first-tier champagnes on the market. This feels incredible, standing here 30 meters underground, tasting champagne where Charles Heidsieck once stood 150 years ago. Speaking of the founder, Melissa gives us a quick history of his fascinating life. Charles Heidsieck grew up in a champagne family and in 1851 started his own brand, setting his sights on an untapped market, the United States. There he became known as Champagne Charlie, and soon he was wheeling and dealing his bubbly from New York to New Orleans. Then, in 1861, the US Civil War broke out, but Charlie didn't stop. During one of his business trips, he was accused of being a spy and sent to prison. Eventually, President Abraham Lincoln got him free. But by the time Charles made it back to France, his business was nearly bankrupt. It looked like the end for Champagne Charlie. Then, out of the blue, a miracle. A friend passes away in Colorado and leaves Charles 200 parcels of land. The windfall gets him back on his feet and keeps the champagne dream alive. He used part of the money to buy the chalk pits we are standing in right now, making a deal with the city of Reims to buy 47 of them. They are perfect for aging champagne. No light, no noise, and a cool 10 degrees all year round. We have tasted the Brut Reserve, but we are not done in the cellar just yet. There is still another special bottle to go. Earlier this year, Charles Heidsieck surprised the champagne world with a limited release of their 1996 Blanc de Millionnaires with just 4,000 bottles. The 1996 harvest was an extreme year in champagne. That year had an extraordinary balance of high ripeness and high acidity, a combination rarely seen since 1955. Many houses released their 1996 champagne in the beginning of the 2000s. But after multiple tastings over the years, the 96 Blanc de Millionnaires was not considered ready by Charles Heidsieck experts. Until this year, when he joined the A-list in becoming one of only 9 vintages good enough to be called Blanc de Millionnaires. After maturing for 25 years, it's a big boy. Lively, surprisingly fresh, and powerful. I like this vintage so much that all 12 bottles allocated to Hungary are now resting in my cellar. Now that we got what we came for, it's time to get back to ground level. It was just a bit easier on the way down, but I still have some 96 to celebrate. Now that the tour is over, it's time to get high. 50 meters, to be exact, for a 3-course dinner in the sky by a 2 Michelin star chef. Since the launch in Belgium in 2006, over 100,000 people in 65 countries have been strapped in and hoisted into the air. The company has taken the idea in some interesting new directions. Besides dining in the sky, they have lunch in the sky, concert in the sky, movie in the sky, marriage in the sky. Even Santa is getting in on the action. For chefs, they have managed to harness some of the world's best, like Heston Blumenthal, Pierre Gagnaire and Alain Passard, who have all cooked in the air. Cooking for us today, we have 2 chefs, Chef Jackie Loiset and 2 Michelin star Chef Philippe Mille. who won the Bocuse d'Or Bronze in 2009 and holds the title of MOF. After 15 years and 2 Michelin stars at Le Parc La Crière, Chef Philippe has opened his own restaurant called Arban right here in Reims. I don't want to jinx it, but I hear people are saying there is a 3rd star in his future. The chefs have created a special 3-course menu for us. I have never tried their cooking, but I am excited. Actually, my heart is beating out of my chest. We kick things off in the VIP lounge with champagne, of course, to loosen us up a bit more. I tried the first bite to take my mind off what's coming. Starting with a mushroom mousse bite. Although they have a nice setup, this is a pop-up and not a permanent fixture. In fact, this one is just for 3 days. They will host 4 meals and 1 wine tasting each day, with tickets for 370 and 150 euros per person. As the lunchtime gets closer, I get a better look at the engineering. It looks pretty safe to me. So I calm my nerves with a cucumber tartlet and some carrot cake. Now that we see the chefs are safely tethered, the time has come for us to strap in. One by one, they call our names, like some kind of reverse Hunger Games. There is no turning back now.
To give a big applause to the chef and his team for this lunch. So before we go up, there is a few safety rules. The most important rules, please, is to not switch seats during the flight. I promise it's not a good idea. So ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
It's a beautiful day and all should go well. As long as I remember, don't look down. Thankfully, the champagne is popping. Starting with non-vintage Charles Heidsieck Blanc de Blanc Cuvée based on the 2020 harvest. A highly acidic, fresh champagne that perfectly reflects the house's style with a long finish. Chef Philippe helps to spread the cheer. With the fresh, vibrant drink in hand, the first course is served. It's blue lobster, seasonal tomatoes and burrata with fresh bread. Tasting the Charles Heidsieck Brut Reserve, 50 meters in the air. Is there any difference? Yes. There is clearly a difference between the champagne in the cellar versus way up here. I will let you know what it is in my final thoughts. Our second course is a fillet of veal, grilled mushrooms, smoked wine shoots and finished with veal jus. Super tender veal, but it was on the cooler side. It must be hard to get the temperature just right when the wind is literally blowing through the dining room. A new champagne will see us through our third and final course, the 2014 Blanc de Millionnaire, the latest vintage of Charles Heidsieck's 100% Chardonnay Cuvée. It was my first time tasting it and I was impressed by its creamy texture and depth. It comes with something sweet. Figs from Provence, matcha almond cake with honey, a scoop of vanilla ice cream and buckwheat tuile. To signal the end, we have one final cheers. As we are lower back to solid ground, I can't have but feel another emotion. As the soundtrack switches to Queen's We Will Rock You, the trip gets tribal. And just like that, we are back, enjoying some final bites and one last glass of champagne as the next group gets strapped in. What can I say? It's been a day full of ups and downs. It was my first and probably my last dinner in the sky, which was more of an experience than fine dining. A chef with no team and limited equipment can only do so much, but still, it was good. I would love to see what chefs Philippe and Jackie can do on their home turf. How about the Charles Heidsieck Cellar Tour? It was a great workout, that's for sure, with the bonus of exceptional storytelling along with some iconic champagne. And that brings me to my objective for today. What was the difference between the champagne in the cellar versus up in the air? 50 meters up, the champagne experience was much more emotional. And the emotion I felt was mostly fear.
You can call me stupid, yes, you can call me sheep.